Hello and welcome to Economic Forum, where we discuss various issues affecting our economy in Zimbabwe. These can be issues to do with human capital, to do with manufacturing, to do with information communication technologies, to do with mining and many other facets of life. We bring them here, discuss them, and see how they contribute to our economic development in Zimbabwe. My name is John Masugu. And today we are going to be talking about the legal profession, how it contributes to business and economic development. And we are delighted to be hosting the president of the Law Society of Zimbabwe, who is Matambo. Welcome, Rumbidzai.
Thank you for having me.
You play a very important role as lawyers, but of late we've had quite a number of issues where you have been on the wrong side of the law. But it's good that we have you here as the president of the Law Society of Zimbabwe. We want to understand first what you do as the society, how you regulate lawyers, and then we go to issues that really affect business and how lawyers come in.
It's unfortunate that some of our members have fallen on the wrong side of the law, but I assure you it is not all of us, and it is not the majority of the profession that is on the wrong side. The Law Society is a creature of statute. The Law Society of Zimbabwe is both a representative and regulatory body, which is established in terms of the Legal Practitioners Act. Our duty is to not only represent the interests of our members who are practicing legal practitioners within Zimbabwe, but to also regulate our members. So we have a dual role there, where we represent their interests and we regulate them. The regulation part, and I am sure, is the part that you are interested in.
Yes, so that the public is assured that when they deal with lawyers, they've got some protection.
Absolutely. Our role as regulator starts from when a legal practitioner becomes registered. When you are registered with the High Court, you come through to us with your certificate of registration. You are now a registered legal practitioner. But for you to practice in a law firm in Zimbabwe, you then have to become our member and to get a valid practicing certificate. This practicing certificate is what certifies that you are allowed to appear before the courts, you are allowed to represent clients at the police, you are allowed to represent clients at any institution, and to hold trust funds. And you've submitted yourself to the regulation of the Law Society. Once you become a member and once you have your practicing certificate, you can then either join a law firm to practice, or if you, after 3 years of required pupillage, you can set up your own law firm. At this stage, we also step in again as regulator. You cannot set up a law firm without the regulator's approval.
What is it that you educate the public about how to deal with lawyers and also having that basic understanding in order to carry out due diligence? I think you've explained with regards, what is important when registering lawyers and how you regulate them. But the public, at times, they don't know how to handle lawyers or how to approach the right lawyers.
Yes. We encourage the public to be diligent when appointing lawyers. Usually you get, by way of reference, it's good to go to the kind of lawyer that you have heard of before, a friend has dealt with, and there's a reference. Lawyers are also required to practice in a setup that is professional. So if your lawyer doesn't have an office, if your lawyer doesn't have a desk, I think that should be a red flag. Because sometimes you are meeting bogus lawyers who don't have law firms, who don't have setups, because it is minimum standard requirement that a law firm is housed at a law firm which is set up properly. So we do then recommend that you do that due diligence, just ask for referrals, see what they are doing. If you do note any red flags, if you do suspect that this person may not be a registered lawyer or may not be in good standing, members of the public are free to approach the Law Society and ask to check if the person who's represented them, who is purporting to be a lawyer, is registered.
Yes. Now let's look at the major roles that can be approached by clients, especially in terms of business promotion, as we focus on the economy and business here on Economic Forum. What is it that they can get from lawyers? What kind of assistance can they receive?
Well, lawyers are fortunately educated in various aspects of the law. When it
Learned
comes
friends.
yes, indeed. When it comes to business, lawyers can help you in setting up your company structures. They help you with the regulatory and legal framework that is required to run businesses. A lawyer who has an in-depth understanding of business will be able to hold your hand in drafting up contracts, in entering business transactions, ensuring that you remain on the correct side of the law, and ensuring that their client is well protected. Lawyers also have an understanding of the economy, and they are able to assist in ensuring that businesses are run in a manner that benefits not only the individuals but the economy.
But while saying that, Rumbidzai, lawyers also specialize in different areas. We've heard about human rights lawyers. We've heard about economic or business lawyers, those who specialize in business, and those who specialize in marriage and so forth. So obviously it means that they will be concentrating much more on that. What is the situation like with regards to those who are competent in business? Are you grooming many of them so that the public is helped in business and economic development?
Yes, indeed. What we have done as the regulator is we have what we call continuing professional development. And our continuing professional development courses focus on pertinent areas of the economy as well. So we have our lawyers who are training in financial crimes. We have our lawyers who would be coming in to train in business aspects. AI is a new topic, and the law and how it interacts with business. We bring in specialists, sometimes from outside the country, sometimes from within, to ensure that those of our lawyers who want to specialize in certain areas of the law get the additional continuing training to equip them with the ability to assist their clients. But in terms of specialization, lawyers choose for themselves the areas they would like to specialize, and they try and develop themselves. But we have also taken a particular interest. We have trainings in construction law. We have a training in trade finance coming up soon. We ensure that we always provide our members with the opportunity to develop themselves further in the areas that they choose to practice in.
That's Rumbidzai Matambo, who is the president of the Law Society of Zimbabwe. We are discussing the role of lawyers, in particular in business and economic development. How does the Law Society also help the public to ensure that it is satisfied with the services that they get from lawyers? So join us in the second segment of Economic Forum. We are now in the second segment of Economic Forum, where today we are discussing the role of lawyers in business and economic development with the president of the Law Society of Zimbabwe, Rumbidzai Matambo. In the last segment, you discussed about how you are capacitating lawyers to understand different aspects of business so that they can represent clients very well. But there are also other specialists who have to work with lawyers. Specialists like those in the estate agents and others. And obviously, it may not be easy for the lawyers to overcome them. So how do they work with those so that the client is served fairly and better?
Yes, indeed, we work with other professionals, and I like the example you choose, which is of real estate agents. Lawyers and real estate agents have a very close working relationship when it comes to transfer of properties, the sale and transfer of properties. And unfortunately, it's the area that has caused the most problems in recent times. We have established a working relationship with the Real Estate Council of Zimbabwe, where we are going to work together and partner and ensure that our members are properly educated and equipped and regulated, as well as the members of public are also made aware of their rights when it comes to dealing with lawyers and real estate agents.
Rumbidzai, while there's a lot of due diligence that can be taken by the Law Society of Zimbabwe and the clients themselves, but there are new types of commercial crimes that arise and some as a result of new technology. Today we have AI, we have other issues to do with the digital space. Are lawyers in Zimbabwe fully prepared to deal with those crimes?
Indeed, they are. One thing you must also remember is the lawyers are also getting younger and they have an understanding of the digital world that we wouldn't have. The universities themselves are also equipping the students and training them in new modules that cover the new areas of the law. And as I mentioned in the previous segment, we also then take it up later as the regulatory body and the representative body to source resources that can come and train our members in that area. So I assure you, lawyers are up to date with what is happening in the world.
Yeah. The issue of trust funds comes up quite regularly with regards to lawyers, and some viewers may not be aware of how do these issues arise. It is because maybe the clients would have put too much trust into the lawyers. How then do things go wrong?
Yes. Lawyers are one of the professions that are entrusted to hold trust funds. Trust funds, as the name suggests, is you are holding the funds on behalf of somebody and in trust, which means you are required to do so with utmost diligence. Now, unfortunately, what has been happening is we do have, and this is historical, instances where legal practitioners abuse trust funds or use trust funds, misuse trust funds. This, what I would say to the public is when you entrust a lawyer to hold your funds, you are entitled to get an account of your funds and to ensure that your funds are held properly. The diligence that I can only say is once you have trust funds held by lawyers, make sure that the lawyer that you're dealing with is accounting to you, is not saying, and do not enter into arrangements where you allow a lawyer to use funds that should actually ideally be held in trust.
Maybe in that regard, you can also have some advice to those of us in the diaspora, because when they leave the country and settle out there, some of their lives here back home is run by lawyers. Are there some impediments that they face which you would like to advise them to be aware of and take care?
I find that we are trusting people, which is a good thing, but we must also be diligent. When you instruct your lawyer, be clear with your instructions and make sure that your instructions are followed. If you're unhappy with your instructions not being followed, you must speak out. If you find that you cannot resolve the matter with your lawyer, you can approach the Law Society and ask them to assist, so that the matters are always handled above board.
While there on the diaspora, how do you, as the Law Society of Zimbabwe, liaise with other law societies outside the country, so that if a lawyer commits a crime here, you are able to follow up even in other countries, and they are brought to book as a result?
The Law Society as an institution is a member of the International Bar Association, which is the largest association of lawyers in the world. And this gives us access to the majority of the major law societies in the world. So we are able to interact with our counterparts, who we actually meet often annually. And we may have, sometimes we actually have personal interactions. So we are able to say, the Law Society of England and Wales, for example, is able to write to us and ask if a certain person is in good standing, and if they and we give them that answer. We are also able to do the same for them. So we do have a respectable working relationship with law societies all over the world.
And for the sake of the public, is it in the public space that they should know how much they should remunerate lawyers? Because at times people would be crying foul that they've been overcharged and so forth, and as a result they then don't use lawyers in a situation where they're supposed to protect their businesses.
Yes, I think there is a need for the public to understand the value of legal advice. Yes, we do have a recommended tariff which is available for public consumption. This tariff is based on the years of experience of the lawyer that you're handling. So if, for example, you will come to me and ask for legal advice, you're entitled to ask me what my recommended charge out rate is, and I must be able to produce that and show you. and then going forward, we then bill according to the tariff. Unfortunately, members of the public have a tendency of not valuing lawyers and wanting to choose the cheapest option. Or lawyers, we call that undercutting. If a lawyer charges below the recommended tariff, they are actually committing an offense in terms of the Legal Practitioners Act. They are undercutting, just as if they charge way above what is recommended. So members of the public must be very careful that sometimes a person is undercutting, perhaps because they are not a registered legal practitioner, or they are not equipped to deliver the service that they are saying they are equipped to deliver.
That's Rumbidzai Matambo, who is the president of the Law Society of Zimbabwe. We are discussing issues to do with how lawyers play a role in our businesses and economic development. So join us in the third and final segment of Economic Forum. This is the final segment of Economic Forum, where today we've been discussing all issues to do with the legal profession and its contribution to economic development. We've touched on a number of issues, including trust and how the Law Society of Zimbabwe also regulates the law practice in Zimbabwe. We have our guest here, the president of the Law Society of Zimbabwe, Rumbidzai Matambo. Now let's go on to the issue where you also contribute to the formulation of policy in the country, where you are approached when some laws to do with the economy are formulated and you make your contribution. How do you contribute, and maybe you have some examples of where you have made major contributions?
Yes, we are approached oftentimes by various arms of the government when it comes to policy formulation, and we go through to our members. We seek their opinions and recommendations on any area of the law that we may be approached by any arm of the government regarding policy formulation. For example, we may give our contribution to what we think about the establishment of the African Free Trade area, and which services and how our service can also contribute to that development. We also at times give our contribution when laws are actually being drafted and formulated. We prepare model bills that we submit to Parliament or to our line minister on various aspects of the law. We've also participated in preparing model bills for the alignment of laws with the new constitution, and this is an ongoing process that we are working together with the Parliament to see that all the laws are aligned. So we as the representative body would then be the ones who submit the drafts after gathering views from members, after creating what we think would align with the constitution, for example, if it is alignment of laws. If it is a new law that is coming into effect, and we also either are consulted or believe we have an interest as a profession to represent the interests of the nation, and that we have something to contribute, we are always ready to offer that contribution to the development of the nation.
Do you also give that kind of assistance even outside the country, where the government or other local organizations are discussing issues that will uplift our economy, and you as local lawyers also make a significant contribution?
Yes, we do. As an institution, we also are part of regional bodies. We are part of the SADC Lawyers Association, which deals with all things legal and policy in the SADC region. So we contribute our thoughts to other jurisdictions where is and when we are called upon to do so, and we also get ideas from other jurisdictions that we bring home and recommend within our country.
You have some of your members who practice or work as individuals, or they belong to associations. They could be lawyers for the economy or lawyers for women and so forth. Do you regulate those, or you specifically target the individual when you're dealing with such organization?
Yes, these organizations, an organization can employ a lawyer, right? But that if that lawyer is has a practicing certificate, sometimes we issue what are called limited practicing certificates, which allow people to practice to a certain extent as part of an organization, which is not a law firm. That person remains under our purview. If they do commit an act of misconduct, we are entitled to regulate them. While we may not regulate the organization that they work for, just like we would not regulate a company or a bank, but the individual who is our member is regulated, and we also represent their interests. So when they do have a problem as well, we also assist as a representative body.
About those who remain your full members but belong to these organizations, which then carry out other helpful issues in society, maybe helping women to set up businesses, the youth and so forth. Maybe they call themselves with the women lawyers. We've got different types of lawyers who target various parts of the community, but represented by your members.
Yes, they continue to be our members, and sometimes you'll find that we actually interact with some of these organizations. We have projects that we sometimes do with them. If it's targeted at a specific vulnerable group, it becomes part of our CSR projects. We also then assist, and awareness campaigns, certain projects, fundraising projects to assist the needy. We work with all these organizations.
Well, Rumbidzai, it has been nice to have you as the president of the Law Society of Zimbabwe here on Economic Forum, where today, viewers, we've discussed a variety of issues where lawyers actually assist the public, issues to do with understanding how the Law Society can help you deal with lawyers, to help you to actually make some due diligence when you are appointing lawyers for different things. We've explained as well one of the contentious issues, especially to do with trust funds, and also issues to do with real estate, which also affect many people, especially those who then entrust all their monies and their property to the lawyers while they are away in the diaspora. What then remains is to thank our guest, Rumbidzai Matambo, who is the president of the Law Society of Zimbabwe, who has been our guest. Thank you very much, Rumbi.
Thank you.
Viewers, if you like to get in touch with us, you can do so on the numbers that are showing on your screen. There may be quite a number of issues that Rumbidzai raised here about the work of the lawyers, which you want to raise and clarify. If you like to discuss some of these issues, you can also do so on our social media platforms, where again we can engage our guests in order to clarify matters to you. If you have missed some of the episodes of Economic Forum, you can actually watch them on our YouTube channel, which is Economic Forum Zimbabwe, so that you get to understand better. So on behalf of the production crew and our guest, Rumbidzai Matambo, this is John Masugu wishing you happy viewing.